Hey guys, welcome back to Reverse 1999. In today's video, we're going to be talking best teams for your account as you move into progressing through limbo stages of the artificial somnambulism. Now, I'm getting really good at that saying that word. I know it's fantastic, praise me, but dude, it's such a crazy one. It took me forever to learn it. Now I'm like really happy with it. But let's go into it. Teams. So as you clear through the surface levels and you clear stage 10, you will unlock the limbo. This resets every 2 weeks, and you need 2 teams in it. You start needing 2 teams at level 10 of surface, because when you defeat a whole enemy team, you basically lose access to all those characters, so you need 2 teams. Now, teams do consist of 4 characters. However, for this early moving in stage, I suggest you only focus on building 6 characters. Now, something else that you'll want to do when you start getting into these stages is looking at the stage info, and this when we look at team building, you're going to have 2 main damage dealers. Try to have them as different elements, because if they're different elements, you'll be able to swap them around so that every battle you've got a main damage who's at least neutral to the enemy. You don't want to be having 2 beast carries, and then you come up against mineral and you're like, okay, I'm just crippled. I got nothing I can do. So with your DPS, always do that, but always come in here and check these stages so you know which team you want to bring to which. For me, I'm using an Eternity who is weak to the trash bags here, so I have to use her in this first stage, stuff like that. But let's go ahead and talk about the teams and the team formations. So like I said, I only recommend, I'm just going to go into a stage here so we can show you teams. I only recommend building 6 characters. I would just completely ignore this slot and not have anything there. Now, the 6 characters I would look at building, and both teams will have a similar formation. Now, you do have differences with something like Eternity, who does have solo capabilities, and she can do her thing. That is another thing, but I'm using her, but I am still trying to build a full team with her. I've pushed further than I should have, because I can abuse the mechanics that she has, because my second healer is Sotheby, who in this early game stage is trash, and also she's not very well invested. So that is a thing. She's an investment for the future for me. But essentially, when you look at forming your teams, you want to have 2 teams that both have a main damage dealer, a support, offensive/defensive support. You could go defensive. I like going the offensive route, and then a healer/defensive support unit. Now, like I said, once again, there will be exceptions to this, but that is the general thumb. So when we look at damage dealers, there's honestly plenty of options, and depending on units you pulled, you'll be able to make 2 teams. Even if you didn't pull any exclusive or any of the standard banner units, if you just did the beginner banner, you'll have either Eternity, or you'll have Regulus or Lilia. One of those 3. They can be one of your main damage dealers. And if you didn't get anything else, you can actually get away with something like Eagle. Eagle is actually really, really solid. She's got really good crit, and if she exceeds crit, that's something I love in this game. Like, a lot of characters have innate crit, but then if they exceed crit, it turns into crit damage. It's really nice. But this is just a really big multiplier with it's a good multiplier once you've got them in stats down, but you also get leech rate. Really nice for that. And then this one, we've got a mass attack, and it enjoys penetration, so that's pretty good for AoE clearing. The multiplier is low because it is AoE, but you do have penetration. All around, generally good unit. And the other thing to mention is that the lower the rarity of the character, the less materials they need for their insight upgrades, and the more dupes you'll naturally have of them. So you're going to get her beefed up a lot more, and their insights are cheaper, and you can actually build them quite well. So if you don't have anything else, you can use something like Eagle. So there is your damage dealing slot sorted. Now, if you want another place to go ahead and look, you can come over here to Pridewin, and you can just, and I never recommend building teams based off a tier list. You need more synergies and stuff like that, and I am going to talk about some more stuff in the future. But you can just come here and go, okay, do I have any of these type of damage dealing units? You can look at early game, late game, whatever. But you go, okay, do I have any of these units? Like I said, you're going to have Regulus, Lilia, or Eternity. There's one of your damage dealers. Charlie is fantastic. She gets really good at 3 dupes, but she's great anyway. She's a 5-star. If you have her, happy days. There is one of your damage dealers. Like I said, in the early game though, we do have Eagle, who is very, very solid. So no matter like what your account is, what your luck's been like, you should be able to build 2 teams with damage dealers. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is support units. Now, the two that I'm using, and I might just leave it on this tier list because I feel like it's a good format to look at things. So the two that I'm using is Ann Lee. I got lucky, but I'm also using Beacon Bloom. Now, if I didn't have Ann Lee, I would go ahead and I'd use Sonetto. Sonetto is basically like the budget version of Ann Lee. They both have damage up. They also, for your allies, they both have damage received reduced for your allies. Both really, really solid. Now, as we move past that, Voyager is a 6-star. If you have her, great general support. Then we go into Beacon Bloom and Baby Blue. These two, Beacon Bloom and Baby Blue, are very specific. Beacon Bloom reduces the enemy's reality defense, so you want to use reality damage dealers with her. Baby Blue is the mental version of that. So if you're using Beacon or Baby Blue, you got to make sure that your team synergizes with them, and that way you can use that. Now, outside of that, we do have some usable free-to-play options, but ideally, because we do have Beacon Bloom on one of the banners, hopefully you guys can piece together, once again, we've got Sonetto. So if you pulled Voyager, if you pulled Ann Lee, use them. If not, hopefully you've pulled a Beacon Bloom or a Baby Blue, and then you can use Sonetto as the other one. Now, if you don't have any other supports and you don't want to invest into any of these lower tier units, you could use another sort of survival unit if you want. Something like a Tenant can be good. She's got shields, but she doesn't have healing. You could go away with something like that if you want to. It could be if you just didn't have the support units and the only decent support you have is Sonetto. So that is those. Like I said, you need to build 2 teams. So you're going to need 2 of them. And the final thing you want is 2 sustain units. Now, the great thing is we've got some great options. If you have Balloon Party or Medicine Pocket, they're both fantastic. But DK we get at 8 days login. DK we get at 8 days login. So she is a fantastic healer if you don't have her. She is, in my opinion, if we go to early game, where is she? Yeah, okay, yeah. She's a beast early game, in my opinion. She can work super well, and she can contribute some nice damage. Now, the other one we have is La Source. Now, I'm not a big fan of Oliver Frog compared to La Source. I just think La Source, because you can get so many dupes of her 3-star, and then her ultimate reduces all the moxie on the enemy. So you've got like counters to ultimates. You got really good healing. Her other ability is just some AoE damage, which isn't crazy, but her healing is decent. Her ult is fantastic support. So she is a great unit. So everyone should have at least DK and La Source to go ahead and build a team from. Then if you have Balloon Party, for instance, I have Balloon Party, I'm using that. I also have Sotheby. And as you can see, Sotheby is absolutely trash in the early game. I am using my Sotheby, but the only reason, if we jump back over to my account, that I am able to use my Sotheby is because one of my teams, if we get back over here, is using Eternity. And Eternity is that soloing type unit. So she has the self-sustain and she can cheese her way through stages. And if I didn't have her and I had another DPS, I would have to have a second healer. I've got Balloon Party. I would probably have to build my DK on this account. I'm not, because I have her built on my other account, and I'm just going to struggle through with Sotheby. And at the end of the day, like I said, you just got to play it how you want. Like, yes, you want to build 2 teams to push this. However, if you're saving for healers in 1.2, we've got Tooth Fairy coming, who a lot of people will be saving for. Well, how many gems are you going to miss out on? Do you want to invest in the other characters? That is a question you have to answer for yourself, depending on how far you can push without the second healer and stuff like that. So for me personally, I've decided, you know what? I'm pretty happy with my progression so far. I've still got a lot of investment I can do into my DPS and my other units. And, if I build my Eternity even further, I probably won't even need my Sotheby to be able to fully clear the Limbo. So I'm just happy to leave my Sotheby as the next unit, not build myself another viable healer like DK or La Source, and just go at it. So that is my recommendation. Only focus on 6 characters at this stage, pushing into the Limbo. You want to get your 2 main teams sorted out. Just keep in mind, if you're using Beacon Bloom, you want reality damage. If you're using Baby Blue, you want mental damage. That's the key thing with the supports. But in general, your 2 teams want to each have a damage dealer, a supportive unit, and a healing/sustain unit. And your damage dealing units want to be the most heavily invested at this stage. Obviously, eventually you're going to max the whole team out, but in this early stage, you want to have a bit more investment into your damage dealers so that they can actually deal that damage, because at the end of the day, the best way to survive in this game is to kill the enemies. But that is my roundup of teams moving into Limbo. Hopefully it helped you guys. Let me know what your teams are. Let me know your progress in Limbo. I am completely stuck on the second half of level 5 of Limbo because it's got these annoying trash bags that get 4 AP every turn, and they just absolutely slap me. But hey, I suck. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.